This is real footage of organized criminal forces attacking someone. We see a man wielding a stick, striking the victim's thigh. Then several more people rush over, swinging sticks and continuously beating the victim. In just a few seconds, the victim is knocked to the ground. Others want to leave, but the perpetrators continue beating the victim from head to legs before finally fleeing the scene. Medical examination revealed that both of the victim's legs were completely broken. Here's where it gets dramatic. The victim Lee and his attackers had no personal grudge. The entire incident stemmed from his boss Joe having a debt dispute with a loan company. Because Joe had borrowed money and never repaid it, the lending company contacted Zhang, a locally notorious figure, asking him to help collect the debt. Zhang considered that Joe held a high social position, and attacking him directly might lead to serious consequences. So instead, he arranged for his men to beat Joe's driver Lai, which is what we witnessed in the opening scene. Police quickly arrested the criminal gang led by Zhang. This Zhang had been committing crimes since childhood. Leveraging his notorious reputation, gained from associating with Jinan's crime boss Su, he repeatedly ordered his subordinates to assault others. Here's a record of him causing trouble at a gas station. When gas station staff reminded him not to use his phone at the station, this angered Zhang. He directly attacked the gas station attendant. When others saw this and called police, Zhang also called his associates, who drove over and blocked the gas station, shouting that they would shut it down. Even after police arrived, his attitude remained arrogant. After 3 to 4 hours of police mediation, Zhang finally drove away, but the matter didn't end there. After the gas station owner learned that the troublemaker was Zhang, he proactively sought mediators to resolve the issue. He gave Zhang a gas card worth 10,000 yuan, 2 cartons of Zhonghua cigarettes, and a case of premium liquor to settle the matter. This was just the tip of the iceberg of Zhang's criminal activities. To intimidate others, he always operated with a group when committing crimes. This demonstrates the serious nature of his criminal behavior, methods, and impact. Victims were angry but dared not speak out. Some even fled Jinan after being victimized and didn't dare return home. But this was just urban gang activity in Jinan. In rural areas, criminal organizations were even worse. On August 15, 2014, 2 groups were eating at a barbecue stand when they suddenly got into a heated argument. Within seconds, it escalated into a brawl. During the fight, someone from one side drove a car straight into the crowd, hitting everyone regardless of which side they were on. Police investigation revealed the driver was Jin, another genius criminal. After the hit and run, he actually tried to file an insurance claim. He drove his car to a remote location, and when the insurance adjuster came to investigate, he told them this was the accident scene. When some people suggested this might not be the actual scene, Jin insisted, "This is the scene. If I say it is, then it is." To make the insurance adjuster comply, he had his associates follow the adjuster back to the company to process the claim according to his story. Threatening and intimidating tactics were this criminal gang's standard operating procedure. By the end of 2014, Jin, who was serving as village director at the time, set his sights on a factory owned by a company in the village, wanting to seize it for himself. After threats and intimidation failed, he had his subordinates bring excavators to dig up the road in front of the factory, severely disrupting the factory's operations. Surveillance footage shows that aside from an elderly security guard, no one came to intervene, demonstrating just how fearsome Jin's reputation was locally. Even so, the factory manager refused to give in. Left with no choice, Jin produced a fake contract and brought over 100 people to forcibly demolish the factory's 400-square-meter workshop. The above 2 criminal gang leaders were both men. The next one is even more formidable. She's a woman. She illegally occupied an entire highway route near long-distance bus lines. Since 2009, Wang had been hiring large numbers of unemployed drifters along the highway to intercept passing buses and charge illegal tolls. Those who didn't comply faced intimidation, threats, and beatings. She would demand that drivers treat her to meals, singing, and entertainment. You pay 960 yuan every month, and I guarantee your vehicle will have safe passage here. If you don't pay, Wang will send a group to storm your vehicle and beat up the driver. From 2009 to 2017, Jinan police dismantled a total of 1,026 criminal gang organizations and arrested 3,284 criminal suspects. Among these were 120 major criminal organizations, with 654 various types of criminal suspects arrested, of whom 542 were legally punished.